December 29th, 1972. Friday evening. New York's JFK Airport hums with holiday travelers. Eastern Airlines Flight 401 sits at the gate, waiting. The Lockheed L-1011 TriStar. Sleek, modern, magnificent. 3 powerful engines. State-of-the-art autopilot. The Whisper Liner, they call it. One of the most advanced aircraft in the world. 163 people board. Families heading to Florida sunshine. Businessmen closing deals. A young couple celebrating their honeymoon. Children clutching stuffed animals, eyes wide with excitement. They chat, they laugh, they settle into their seats. Just another flight, just another Friday. In the cockpit sits experience itself. Captain Bob Loft, 55 years old, nearly 30,000 flight hours. A legend at Eastern. Calm, methodical, unshakable. First Officer Albert Stockstill, 39, former Air Force. Sharp, precise, by the book. Flight Engineer Don Repo, 51, a systems expert, meticulous, professional. 3 men, 96,000 combined flight hours between them. They've flown through storms, mechanical failures, emergencies. They've seen it all, survived it all. Pushback. The engines roar. Flight 401 lifts into the winter sky. Ahead lies Miami. Warmth. Palm trees. A routine 2.5-hour flight. The passengers read magazines. Flight attendants serve drinks. Some in laughs in row 12. Everything is normal. Everything is perfect. Until it isn't. Flight 401 descends toward Miami International Airport. The Florida coastline glitters below, a necklace of lights against black ocean. The cabin is quiet. Passengers doze. Outside, the engines hum their steady song. Inside the cockpit, the crew runs their approach checklist. Miami approach, Eastern 401, we're with you. Descending to 2000. Captain Loft radios. Eastern 401. Roger, cleared for approach to runway 9 left. First Officer Stockstill reaches for the landing gear lever. Thunk. The gear extends. Hydraulic pumps whir. The wheels drop into the slipstream. 3 green lights should illuminate. 3 confirmations. Nose gear, down and locked. Left main gear, down and locked. Right main gear, down and locked. 2 lights turn green. The 3rd stays dark. Stockstill stares at the panel. I don't have a light on the nose gear. Loft leans over, studies the indicator, frowns. This happens sometimes. Usually it's just a burned-out bulb, a $12 piece of equipment. But they can't land without confirming the gear is actually down. Landing with the nose gear retracted would be catastrophic. The nose would hit the runway. The aircraft would cartwheel. Everyone would die. We need to check this out, Loft decides. His voice is calm, measured, no panic. This is what experience looks like. Miami approach, Eastern 401. We've got a problem with the nose gear indication. Request holding pattern west of the airport. Eastern 401, Roger, turn left heading 270, maintain 2,000 feet. Flight 401 banks left, away from the city lights, away from the runway, toward the darkness, toward the Everglades. Below them, nothing. The Everglades stretches like an ocean of sawgrass and black water. No roads, no lights, no landmarks. Just endless, empty darkness. Inside the cockpit, the crew focuses on the problem. Flight Engineer Repo pries the indicator light assembly from the panel. Might just be the bulb, he mutters. He examines it under the red cockpit lighting. Hard to tell. Try cycling the gear, Loft suggests. Stockstill retracts the landing gear. Waits. Extends it again. Thunk. 2 green lights. The nose gear light stays dark. Still nothing, Stockstill reports. The autopilot holds the aircraft steady at 2,000 feet. Or so everyone assumes. The three men lean over instruments, twist knobs, discuss possibilities. There's an optical sight in the floor, Repo says. I can look directly at the nose gear through it. He opens a hatch in the cockpit floor, squints through a tiny viewport. It's awkward. The angle is wrong. I can't see anything from here. Too dark. Minutes tick by. The crew debates solutions. Should they do a low pass over the airport so the tower can visually confirm the gear? Should they try the optical sight again? No one is looking at the altimeter. No one is monitoring altitude. The autopilot, advanced, sophisticated, reliable, has been inadvertently bumped. Just a slight pressure on the control column. Barely noticeable, but enough. The altitude hold function partially disengages. The Lockheed L-1011 begins to descend, slowly, gently, 200 feet per minute, like a feather drifting toward Earth. No alarms sound. The descent rate is too shallow to trigger warnings. Outside, the black Everglades rises. Inside, three professionals troubleshoot a light bulb. The aircraft passes through 1,200 feet. No one notices. The altimeter needles sweep downward, slow and steady. Outside the windows, only darkness. No visual reference. No horizon. Nothing. 900 feet, 800 feet, 700 feet. Then, a half-second chime. The altitude alert. Brief, ambiguous, easily dismissed in the cockpit chaos. 600 feet above the Everglades. Stock still glances at his instruments. Something feels wrong. A pilot's instinct. We're still at 2,000, right? He asks suddenly. Loft's eyes snap to the altimeter. His face goes white. Hey, what's happening here? The needle reads 500 feet. Time fractures. Loft grabs the controls, yanks back. Pull up! But there's no time. No altitude, no room for miracles. The Everglades rushes up to meet them. Eastern Airlines Flight 401, weighing 335,000 pounds, traveling at 227 miles per hour, impacts the swamp. The sound is apocalyptic, metal screaming, rivets exploding like gunfire. The left wing shears off, cartwheeling through the sawgrass, trailing jet fuel. The cockpit crumples like aluminum foil. The fuselage fractures into sections. Forward cabin, center section, tail. Seats rip from their mounts. Overhead bins burst open. Bodies are thrown through disintegrating metal. The aircraft plows through water and mud and sawgrass for 1,600 feet, disintegrating with every yard. Then, silence. Terrible. Ringing. Silence. Slowly, sounds return. Groaning metal. Splashing water. Crying. Screaming. The wreckage lies scattered across a half-mile debris field. Waist-deep black water. Razor-sharp sawgrass. Moonless darkness. Survivors drag themselves from twisted metal. A woman clutches her daughter, both covered in jet fuel. A man sits in shock, still strapped to his seat, the fuselage gone around him. A flight attendant, leg shattered, calls out, "Is anyone alive? Can anyone hear me?" In the cockpit, Captain Loft is dying, crushed, barely conscious. First Officer Stockstill is dead. Flight Engineer Repo is alive, impaled by wreckage, bleeding internally but conscious. He tries to help, tries to save people, even now. Across the wreckage, 75 people have survived the impact. 101 are gone. The routine flight to Miami has become a tomb in the Everglades. The crash site is invisible from civilization, swallowed by darkness and distance. But someone saw. Robert Marquis, an experienced Everglades airboat pilot, was testing equipment nearby. He saw the aircraft's lights, then watched them vanish. He knows. Marquis guns his airboat toward the location, the flat-bottom boat skimming across sawgrass and shallow water at 40 miles per hour. What he finds defies comprehension. Bodies floating in black water, wreckage everywhere, people calling for help, trapped, broken, dying. A child sitting alone, silent, eyes empty. A woman holding her husband's hand, whispering his name. He's already gone. Marquis begins pulling survivors onto his airboat. 1, 2, 5. He ferries them to higher ground, then races back for more. Within minutes, other airboaters arrive. Local residents, whoever can help. Coast Guard helicopters thunder overhead, their spotlights sweeping the darkness. The beams illuminate nightmare scenes, twisted metal, broken bodies, survivors waving desperately. Paramedics wade through chest-deep water, fighting sawgrass that cuts like razors. They stabilize the critically injured, load them onto stretchers, carry them to helicopters. Flight attendant Mercy Ruiz, ribs broken, face lacerated, coordinates survivors, comforts the dying, refuses evacuation until rescuers physically force her onto a helicopter. Passenger Ron Infantino searches frantically for his wife Lily. He finds her in the wreckage, still alive. She recognizes him, whispers his name. Then she's gone. By dawn, all 75 survivors have been evacuated. The Everglades claims the rest, forever. NTSB investigators arrive at sunrise. They wade through the swamp, cataloging wreckage, looking for answers. How does a modern aircraft, flown by veteran pilots, simply fly into the ground? They recover the flight data recorder, the cockpit voice recorder, the infamous black boxes. What they hear chills them. 4 minutes of conversation. 4 minutes focused entirely on a nose gear indicator light. Not one mention of altitude, not one check of instruments. Then, in the final seconds, we're still at 2,000, right? Hey, what's happening here? Alarms blaring. Impact. The investigators test the aircraft systems. Everything worked perfectly. The engines, the controls, the hydraulics, even the nose gear. It was down and locked the entire time. Only the indicator bulb had failed. A $12 light bulb. The conclusion is devastating. Crew distraction. All 3 pilots fixated on a minor problem while their aircraft descended into the Everglades. Someone inadvertently bumped the autopilot. No one was monitoring altitude. No one was flying the plane. For 4 minutes, Eastern Airlines Flight 401 flew itself into the ground, while 3 experienced professionals troubleshot a light bulb. The report identifies failures that will change aviation forever. Lack of task delegation, inadequate altitude alerts, over-reliance on automation, and most critically, absence of crew coordination training. Flight 401 becomes a landmark, not of mechanical failure, but of human factors. From the Everglades rises transformation. Flight 401 gives birth to Crew Resource Management, CRM. Now, mandatory worldwide. Pilots learn to communicate, delegate, question, maintain awareness. Cockpit culture is revolutionized. Aircraft manufacturers redesign altitude alert systems. Louder, more insistent, impossible to ignore. Ground proximity warning systems become standard. Electronic voices that shout terrain, pull up when danger approaches. The philosophy changes. Fly the airplane first, always. No distraction justifies losing awareness. Today, accidents like Flight 401 are virtually impossible. Modern technology, enhanced training, Lessons written in blood and water and twisted metal. The 101 victims of Eastern Airlines Flight 401 did not die in vain. Their legacy flies with every safe landing, every well-trained crew, every pilot who remembers the Everglades. Captain Bob Loft, First Officer Albert Stockstill, Flight Engineer Don Repo, and 160 passengers who boarded a routine Friday night flight to Miami. Gone, but not forgotten. Their loss transformed aviation, made flying safer, saved countless lives in the decades that followed. In the darkness of the Everglades, on December 29, 1972, tragedy became teacher, and aviation learned to listen. In memory of Eastern Airlines Flight 401, may we never forget those who taught us to fly safer.